Millions are being burned right now by enterprises treating artificial intelligence like a shiny new toy. They bolt a conversational chatbot onto their website, call it an AI transformation, and wonder why their profit margins remain entirely unchanged. This is the wrapper illusion, a surface-level gimmick that does absolutely nothing to fix the operational rot hiding in the back end. At Fifth Wheel AI Services for Business, we see the brutal reality every day. If your AI cannot touch your core data, you are actively engineering your own obsolescence. The true bottleneck lies deep within the legacy stack. Decades of accumulated software, siloed databases, and fragmented communication protocols create a massive operational drag. When a modern language model is introduced without deep integration, human workers are forced to act as the manual bridge. They copy data from a sleek interface just to paste it into a 20-year-old enterprise resource planning system. This friction destroys the very efficiency that technology promised to deliver, turning an expensive investment into a glorified search engine. Escaping this trap requires a fundamental pivot toward agentic orchestration. We are no longer talking about chatting with a machine. We are building active autonomous participants capable of executing multi-step logic across complex enterprise environments. By establishing secure API integration, these agents bypass the user interface entirely. They query your internal databases, validate the information against business rules, and trigger downstream actions without human intervention. The AI becomes the connective tissue of the organization. The operational contrast is immediate and ruthless. A competitor relying on manual data entry takes 3 days to process a complex vendor reconciliation. An enterprise leveraging agentic orchestration completes the exact same workflow in 45 seconds. This is not a marginal improvement, it is a violent market advantage. When intelligent agents are allowed to manipulate legacy systems directly, the speed of commerce accelerates beyond the capacity of human-driven organizations to compete. The gap between the automated and the manual becomes insurmountable. The entire scaling phase of the business shifts instantly. Instead of hiring more administrative staff to handle a sudden surge in demand, the infrastructure absorbs the impact. Enterprise LLM workflows operate in the background, routing supply chain logistics, synthesizing CRM data, and auditing compliance frameworks simultaneously. The resource drain that previously choked growth evaporates. Leadership is no longer managing headcount for repetitive tasks. They are managing the parameters of an industrial-grade intelligence engine that scales infinitely on demand. But achieving this level of operational dominance requires confronting a critical, often ignored liability. Rapid, poorly planned deployments create a toxic accumulation of AI tech debt. Slapping custom code together just to force a connection between a modern neural network and an antiquated mainframe ensures future instability. When the language model updates or the API endpoints shift, the entire fragile architecture collapses. Sustainable automation demands robust, standardized middleware that translates intent into reliable, repeatable execution. This brings us to the reality of legacy system migration. The traditional consulting playbook tells you to rip out the old infrastructure and spend tens of millions of dollars on a complete overhaul. That is a massive, unnecessary risk. The strategic advantage of intelligent orchestration is that it extends the life of your existing investments. You do not need to replace the foundation if you can build a highly capable, autonomous layer that knows exactly how to extract value from it. The goldmine of modern enterprise is buried in these overlooked interactions. It is found in the silent, automated approval of a complex loan application, or the instant rerouting of a global shipment when weather patterns shift. Once the integration framework is established, the specific mechanics fade into the background. The legacy pipeline no longer leaks revenue. The data silos are effectively shattered, not by tearing down the walls, but by deploying agents that can walk right through them. The pressure in the boardroom changes entirely once this capability is unlocked. Stakeholders stop asking about the novelty of the technology and start demanding the resulting profit margins. They see the baseline operating costs dropping by 20, 30, or 40%, and the mandate shifts from experimentation to total deployment. The tolerance for manual inefficiency drops to zero. If a process can be mapped, it must be orchestrated. The company culture transitions from risk-averse preservation to aggressive market capture. This is where the true industrial power of machine learning is realized. It is not a software feature, it is a fundamental rewiring of how the business generates value. By connecting advanced reasoning engines to the historical data locked inside your servers, you create a proprietary intelligence loop. The system learns from the specific, unvarnished reality of your historical transactions, making decisions that are uniquely calibrated to your market position. This cannot be bought off the shelf, it must be engineered. The consequence of this engineering is total dominance in your sector. When your enterprise LLM workflows are deeply entrenched in your legacy stack, you possess a responsiveness that your competitors simply cannot replicate. They will spend months trying to analyze a market shift that your orchestrated agents have already adapted to. You are no longer reacting to the industry. You are setting the pace, utilizing a digital workforce that operates with flawless precision and zero fatigue. We build the infrastructure of this future. The transition requires a refusal to accept the limitations of outdated software and a commitment to precision engineering. It demands a partner who understands that artificial intelligence must serve the brutal, results-driven reality of the bottom line. You must move past the hype, bypass the superficial wrappers, and integrate the intelligence directly into the veins of your enterprise. The tools to automate, scale, and dominate are already here. The only remaining variable is execution. Do not let your legacy systems dictate the limits of your growth, and do not settle for surface-level automation that fails to move the needle. Need help adding AI to your business? Call Fifth Wheel AI Marketing and AI Services at 717-680-3109.